Hi sexies, welcome back to my channel. This is CJ. Today we're going to be talking about a subsect of literary fiction that I like to call good plot, good writing. If you have watched my channel at all, I think you will have noticed that I don't read a lot of plot-driven books. It's not a necessity for me at all. I would rather read a plotless book with impeccable writing any day of the week. So it's not something that I'm typically drawn to, but I would say good plot, good writing books are heavily marketed by publishers because, one, I think a lot of people do read for plot. They like to find out what happens in a book. I don't think I ever think to myself while I'm reading, oh my god, I can't wait to finish this to find out what happens next, because usually nothing is happening in the books I read. This is a selection of books I would feel comfortable recommending to a wide group of people. None of them are too philosophical, navel-gazy, heady books, but they still have a great plot structure and the writing is good, which is an absolute must read. If the writing is lazy, bad, sloppy, boring, bland, whatever in a book, it's not for me. I'm not gonna like it. If you're wondering what the epitome of a bad plot, bad writing book is to me, it's Where the Crawdads Sing. Sorry, I know it was on every bestseller. Everyone has read it. I finished that book and I thought, wow, what a waste of my goddamn time. Sloppy writing, sloppy plot and character development, all tied up in a nice little bow for you. Hated it. I feel like most of these books are set in a contemporary landscape. They deal with interpersonal issues. A lot of them are family centered. And although there is a plot, the plot is more driven along by character development, so keep that in mind. First up, we have Goodbye Vitamin by Rachel Khong. This is a poignant little book about a late 20s woman who gets out of a long-term relationship and moves back in with her parents. While she's there taking care of her parents, she deals with the fact that her father is suffering from memory loss and also uncovering some familial secrets that have been kept from her as an adult. I think there's a lot of poignant, sentimental writing about family and the roles we play within our own families in this book, but there's also a clearly defined structure of beginning, middle, and end. Character development is great. I really liked this emotional father-daughter relationship, and I think this is just a great book to recommend to anyone. Sneakily emotional, funny at times. I loved it. The Nickel Boys by Colson Whitehead follows Elwood Curtis, who is a black boy growing up in Florida, and he is sent to a juvenile reformatory, which is basically like a racist hellscape prison where a lot of torture happens and mistreatment of these boys for a crime he didn't commit. So this is probably one of the only books I'm gonna backtrack on myself and say this is probably one of the only books where I did need to know what happened and the plot was gripping that I read into the night to find out what happened next. And we're with Elwood and Turner as they're trying to survive this facility. We see the friendship that forms between them. We see the power dynamics at play, not only regarding race at that time, but between the kind of authoritarian oversight the caretakers have over these boys. Ultimately results in a plot point of escape. So we see how these two boys escape the reformatory school and what transpires after they have left. I really love this book. The writing's really striking, won the Pulitzer, and is absolutely plot and character driven at the same time, and is based on a true story. Minikana by Angie Cruz. This follows Anna, who is a young girl who moves from the Dominican Republic to America with a much older man who her family has essentially arranged her to be in a marriage with. It is kind of like a sweeping family saga, though not too long. Spud. Can you see his ear? This is Spud's ear. That's how close he is to the camera. So sorry if we're tilting, okay? I can't control him. He has to lay on the bed right now. This novel is definitely character driven. The characters are very well fleshed out. They seem really realized. Their relationships to one another and their crossovers are really articulated very well. But we start with Anna right before she moves to America and carry on with her for about 3 years. So plot is advancing. These ties to these characters and their ties to each other are starting to loosen at the edge. and it's just a great exploration of what immigration was like at this time and how people made a home in a country that didn't fully realize or accept them, and how resilient and powerful women are. So I loved this. I love this so much more than I was expecting. It's definitely not something that I thought I was going to respond to as much as I did. I'm not a huge family saga kind of lad, like Pachinko, that kind of book doesn't really do it for me. I would say don't let that deter you if you're like, following a family, I don't know. The characters, they keep the character count limited, and it's strong. I love this book. The Exhibition of Persephone Q. I would say out of everything I'm about to mention, this is maybe more squirrely on being plot driven than the rest, but there still is a defined plot structure, okay? Things are happening, we are following a narrative journey, and there's a beginning, middle, and end. This follows a woman named Percy who is traversing a post 9/11 New York City. She has become pregnant and her partner does not know. So we do get a lot of introspective thinking in this book, but simultaneously there's a plot line about consent, power dynamics, ownership of the body that is happening at the same time. Essentially, she receives a package in the mail that is a catalog to an art exhibition, and images of her are in said catalog. So this kind of causes her to go on an investigative journey trying to figure out why her image is being used, who is using it, and if she can get that, and why it's being used without her consent. Definitely a good blending of good plot, good writing, and has a lot of themes about art and love, so I think that's why it kind of lends itself into a more ethereal, you know, ghostly landscape than some of these other books that I've talked about so far. Idaho by Emily Ruskovich. Wonder if she's Croatian like my family. This follows a marriage between Anne and Wade. It's set within Idaho, and it deals with topics of memory loss, and at the center and the heart of the story there is a mystery to be solved. There's a retelling of the past. There is a central conflict of trying to figure out what is existing in someone's memory and what actually happened. A lot of perspective shifts in this book. Features a family at the center of the story, and yeah, it has a lot of tension between memory and reality. I don't want to say more because there are some potential spoilers I could get into. I don't see a lot of people talking about this book though, and I think if you like my taste at all, you'll like this. It's suspenseful in the right way and really interesting. Grace, I actually think Grace or Jalen should read this. So if you're watching this, pick up Idaho. The Death of Vivek Oji by Akwaeke Emezi. As the title states, the central plotline is Vivek has shown up dead at his parents' door, and we're kind of going back in time to figure out how that came to be. A really beautiful, poignant, sweeping novel about adolescence into adulthood, identity, queerness, family friendships and relationships that result in some gorgeous, gorgeous writing. I love this book. I love Akwaeke Emezi. They're one of my favorite authors ever, really. And this is definitely more one of their plot-driven books compared to Freshwater, for example. Last, we have another kind of immigrant story, Infinite Country by Patricia Engel. This is about a family, a Colombian family, who make their way over to the United States and deal with some themes of deportation as well. Did I say that right? Deportation? Deportation? Why did I say it like that? It's about caretaking. This family is at the heart of it, about why we leave and how hard it is to come back, about struggles between belonging and citizenship and feeling kind of a divided existence. Interesting use of like time jumps in this, the way it plays with the past and the present and the future is gorgeous. Like a sentimental great read. Again, I keep saying I don't like family sagas, but I do if they're short. I think that's the reality that I've come to admit. That's it, lads. That's my good plot, good writing. There are probably a lot more that I could add to this list. I only went off the physical books that I owned. I'm sure if I looked through my Goodreads or Storygraph, I could find some more that fit into this. A subsect of literary fiction that I feel like I go to as like a reprieve when I'm reading too much heady, like contemporary day in the life stuff. So it's needed, it's necessary for me, but it's not like my largest portion of the pie, I would say. You know, if you have any book recommendations that would go in this, I'm kind of running out, to be honest. I have Transcendent Kingdom up there, and I have Red Island House, which I'm assuming both have good plot, but I'm not sure if they have good writing. So let me know if you've read either of those or anything else that you would think would fall into this category. And I'd love to know where you think you fall on this spectrum. Are you good plot, good writing, no plot, good writing, or plot, bad writing? I mean, I don't think anyone will be in that midsection, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're just like an adventure junkie trying to read something that's extremely plot driven. Who knows? Okay, bye. See you later. Chicken nuggets.